What if the heartwarming science fiction adventure you watched as a child was actually a sanitized cover-up of a much darker, far more terrifying biological disaster? Millions of people around the world know the movie as a breathtaking journey of survival and awe-inspiring spectacle, but the original story is a grim, cold-blooded techno-thriller designed to serve as a severe warning about human greed and scientific arrogance. Hidden beneath the cinematic wonder lies a disturbing narrative where the island doesn't end with a peaceful escape, but with a rain of military napalm, escaped biological experiments, and a gruesome fate for the very people who claim to master life itself. We are about to pull back the curtain on the real, uncensored story of this famous park and expose the terrifying, bioethical horror that was deemed too dark for the silver screen. Before we reveal the shocking differences between what you saw in the cinema and what actually happened in the original pages, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and turn on notifications, because the truth about this childhood classic will change how you view it forever. When Michael Crichton wrote the original novel, he did not set out to create a family-friendly blockbuster filled with wonder and adventure. Instead, he crafted a somber warning about corporate greed, the unethical treatment of biological life, and the severe dangers of treating life as property and merchandise. In the book, the resurrection of prehistoric species is not a miracle to share with the world, but a highly volatile corporate asset, driven entirely by a desire for industrial profit. The story is a bleak examination of what happens when scientific ambition runs completely out of control, ignoring basic safety and ethics in the relentless pursuit of money. To truly understand how deep this division goes, we have to look at the man who started it all, the creator of the park, John Hammond. In the film, Steven Spielberg presents Hammond as a charismatic, well-intentioned idealist who is simply blinded by his own dream. He is a warm, grandfatherly figure who, when confronted with the failure of his creation, experiences a profound moral redemption, repents his pride, and decides not to endorse the park as he escapes. But the book's John Hammond is a completely different figure. He is one of the main antagonists of the entire story. The novel paints Hammond as an incredibly selfish and greedy corporate executive who holds safety regulations in utter contempt. He is so indifferent to the human cost of his project that he doesn't even care about the safety of his own grandchildren, viewing his creations purely as patented commodities. He is blinded by his arrogance, refusing to take any ethical responsibility for the crisis he unleashed, and blaming others for the collapse of his enterprise. This ideological clash extends to the core philosophical debates of the story. In the movie, the famous warning that the scientists didn't stop to think if they should create these animals is maintained, but the deeper discussion is simplified to keep the action and pace moving forward. In the novel, the mathematician Ian Malcolm uses chaos theory to launch a profound, detailed critique of Western deterministic science and its centuries-old obsession with trying to subjugate nature. Crichton argues through Malcolm that complex biological systems are mathematically unpredictable, and attempting to manipulate and control them is a dangerous, irresponsible act with inevitable, catastrophic consequences. But the physical failure of this control is where the book truly turns into an eco-terror nightmare. In the film, the characters escape a localized power failure, leaving the animals contained on the island. The book, however, reveals a much more alarming reality. The park's biological containment had failed long before the power went out. Due to scientific negligence and an absolute overconfidence, the park's creators failed to realize that the cloned animals were already breeding in the wild and escaping to the mainland. This slow-burning revelation changes everything. The characters discover that species have been escaping, creating an imminent threat of a massive ecological disaster on the mainland. In the novel, the response to this biohazardous breakout is militaristic and extreme. The island is heavily bombed with napalm to contain the biological threat. Compare this to the movie, which ends on a highly hopeful note as the survivors escape by helicopter, watching birds fly peacefully over the water, suggesting a deep respect for natural evolution rather than a violent biological reckoning. The characters themselves undergo shocking transformations between the page and the screen. Consider Donald Gennaro, the lawyer. The movie portrays him as a cowardly, greedy stereotype who abdicates any ethics to save himself, only to die a humiliating death in a restroom. In the novel, Gennaro is the complete opposite. He is a brave, highly ethical, and responsible lawyer who actively risks his life during the emergency, helping the survivors investigate the dangerous velociraptor nests to prevent an even greater ecological catastrophe on the mainland. Then there is the chief geneticist, Dr. Henry Wu. In the movie, his role is minimized, and he quietly escapes the island before the storm, avoiding any immediate consequences. In the novel, Wu is a symbol of scientific arrogance and negligence. He manipulates genetic material for convenience, completely underestimating the complex nature of the organisms he is creating. This complete lack of respect for biological life leads to his gruesome death, as he is devoured alive due to his negligence and scientific arrogance. Spielberg modified these characters and softened the narrative's edge because he wanted to deliver a journey of survival with a message of reconciliation and respect for nature. But by doing so, he hid the ultimate piece of poetic justice that Crichton saved for the very end of his techno-thriller, a revelation that involves the horrifying and ironic fate of John Hammond himself. In the final pages of the book, as the park collapses, Hammond's greed and arrogance catch up with him. Unlike the movie, where he learns his lesson and survives, the literary Hammond meets an extremely ironic and terrifying end. He is devoured alive by small dinosaurs known as compies, meeting a brutal and poetic fate without ever recognizing the severe ethical errors of his creation. It is a chilling end that serves as the ultimate warning about trying to treat life as mere merchandise. If you survived this journey into the dark truth of this classic story, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts on whether the dark book or the magical movie is the superior version, and send this video to a friend who needs to know the real story behind the blockbuster.